The Coast Guard is now investigating Royal Caribbean over an incursion that occurred outside of Port Canaveral. Disney Cruise Line is changing their posture if you recently had COVID. Plus, that second Crystal Cruise Line ship that's running from the law, it's literally right over there, over my shoulder, and we're going to talk about everything that's going on. And with Australia remaining unfriendly towards cruising, Carnival Cruise Line says, fine, we'll just leave then. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey, and thank you so much for cruising with me again today. Now, as a quick reminder, I'm on board the Carnival Liberty, and we spent the day down in beautiful Bimini, Bahamas. If you've never been here, I encourage you to give my Instagram page a follow at Midships Cruise. I posted tons of content today from Bimini, and I got so much more content to put up there. And the big news, I finally found a public restroom on Bimini. And speaking of Bimini, it's where two cruise ships who are running from the law are currently hiding out. They're literally just out there, right outside this window. I'll show them to you. Here, there they are. That's the Crystal Symphony and the Crystal Serenity. Okay, you've seen the ships. You know they exist. I can tell you there's tons of chatter and gossip going on board the Carnival Liberty today about those cruise ships sitting out there for Crystal Cruise Line. They probably need to get their ships out of the way of these popular cruise ports so people kind of forget everything that's going on. But the folks over at Newsweek didn't forget, and they've got a little more to say. From Newsweek.com by Kate Wermus, second cruise ship docks in Bimini to prevent seizure from the U.S. over unpaid fuel bills. A second ship from the luxury cruise line Crystal Cruises was diverted to the Bahamas on February 1st after her sister ship had an arrest warrant for a multi-million-dollar U.S. federal lawsuit over unpaid fuel bills. Crystal Cruises said the Crystal Serenity, the second ship, arrived at the Bimini Islands on January 31st, after officials said the ship was not permitted to dock in Aruba. The company said in a statement to Newsweek, passengers were taken via ferry back to Fort Lauderdale to avoid the U.S. ports after their sister ship, the Crystal Symphony, could be seized as part of a lawsuit accusing the luxury cruise line of failing to pay $4.6 million for fuel. And here we have a look at the actual ferry that would have been used to transport these passengers from Bimini over to the mainland U.S. This is the Balleria or Balleria. You know I'm really bad at pronouncing things sometimes, but essentially it's a high-speed ferry. It goes over to Fort Lauderdale and comes back here to Bimini. It's a pretty quick trip. I did get a chance to peek in it last time I was here. Pretty Spartan inside if you're coming from a Crystal Cruise. Just gonna say that. A federal judge issued an arrest warrant under maritime procedure on January 20th to seize the Crystal Symphony when it enters U.S. waters, allowing a U.S. Marshal to board the ship and take over control. However, the ship diverted to the Bahamas, so the warrant could not be executed. Passengers aboard Crystal Serenity say they were in Costa Rica when its sister ship rerouted to the Bahamas instead of back to Miami. Nancy Plencher, a passenger aboard the Serenity, told the Miami Herald that she had booked the cruise liner, which cost her and her husband over $75,000. However, she spent the majority of her trip changing travel arrangements. Nancy says, "It's a colossal mess. How could they have allowed us to board and then sail off when they had to have clearly known they were shutting down the ships within a few hours?" Crystal Cruises told Newsweek in a statement, "There are simply no words to express our deep regret and disappointment." Deep regret and disappointment. Yeah, you think, Crystal Cruises? Come on, you need to get this figured out. There's absolutely no excuse for boarding people on a 116-day, $75,000 cruise that you know is not going to happen. That's inexcusable. Now, since we're on board a Carnival cruise ship, it provides a perfect segue into our next story coming out of Australia. Carnival's pulling a cruise ship and bringing it back home to the U.S. From cruiseradio.net by Sarah Bretz, Carnival pulls a cruise ship from Australia and redeploys her to Florida. After a decade down under, Australia-based Carnival Spirit has been redeployed back to North America. The ship has been sailing from the South Pacific region since way back in 2012. While the rest of the world has resumed cruising, the tyrannical Australian government, yeah, I added that. Have you seen what's going on over there? It's absolutely inexcusable. The Australian government has kept its international ban on cruise ships in place since March of 2020. Its current ban holds out until May of 2022. But the constant return to cruise extensions are forcing operators to sail towards more lucrative waters. And here we have a look at the Carnival Spirit. You can see even over in Australia, the ships have received that new red, white, and blue livery for Carnival. In a statement to Cruise Radio, Carnival said, "The Spirit will reposition to Jacksonville, Florida to sail published itineraries from that port, effective with a planned restart on March 7th. Carnival's other Australian vessel, the Carnival Splendor, is still scheduled to remain in Australia to wait out until the country resumes operations." So there you go. If you sailed every other cruise ship here in the US for Carnival, well, Now there's another choice for you, the Carnival Spirit. And you better believe I'm going to try to cruise the Spirit at least once before she heads back to Australia. Now, before we move along with the cruise news, I want to remind you all the articles referenced in today's episode are linked in the description below this video. Just click that down arrow. You'll find them down there. Also, at the very top of my links, there's a link to the Midships Instagram. You can search for us. It's just Midships Cruise. Like I said, we post all kinds of behind-the-scenes content on there that we don't post on the main channel. It's a great resource, and send me a DM. I love hearing from you on Instagram. And last but not least, down in my description box, I want to point you to my Amazon Influencers link. It's a great place to find all the cruise swag I take with me on every single cruise, like this cable organizer. This thing is a lifesaver. And the best part is just clicking on those links and browsing does help support this channel and my work just a little bit. Now let's get back to the cruise news. Well, our pal Tony from La Lita Loca is currently sailing aboard a Disney cruise ship. And what great timing, because there's Disney cruise news coming out about some new protocols that are going to go into effect if you've already had COVID. Let's learn more from Walt Disney World News today by Katie Francis. Disney has adjusted their testing policy if you've recently recovered from COVID-19. The new policy states that in some cases, people who've recently recovered from COVID may still test positive for SARS-CoV-2. But if you're somewhere between 11 and 90 days out from your sail date, you may qualify for Disney to consider you as 90-day recovered. With the appropriate documentation and subsequent approval, guests considered 90-day recovered are not required to participate in COVID testing during their pre-sail embarkation or disembarkation phases of their voyage. And to see if you qualify for this 90-day exemption, you need to upload the following documents: a copy of your previous COVID test result, more than 11 days and less than 90 days from your expected sail date. You also have to upload a signed letter on official letterhead stating you've recovered from COVID in the last 90 days and are clear for travel. And last but not least, vaccinated guests must also upload proof of their vaccination. So that's kind of interesting. We've not heard of any other cruise lines looking at this 90-day recovered window. I wonder if it's something that we might hear about more and more going forward. Who knows? Keep your fingers crossed if you're one of those in the unvaccinated camp and you haven't been able to cruise. Maybe something like this could roll out to other cruise lines and you might find your way back on a ship sooner than you thought. Now it's time to talk about something we covered in yesterday's episode that literally no one watched. I've literally been watching the view count and it's not even reached 400 since the last time I checked. I can't remember the last time a video I put out got less than 1,000 views. So I don't know what happened, but we need to talk about this cruise ship, the Harmony of the Seas, that canceled a rocket launch because it might actually be becoming an issue for Royal Caribbean now that the Coast Guard's getting involved. Let's learn more from Yahoo News by Emre Kelly and David Berman of Florida Today. Coast Guard starts investigation of Royal Caribbean ship that caused a SpaceX rocket scrub. A Coast Guard investigation is underway after the Royal Caribbean cruise ship Harmony of the Seas was responsible for Sunday evening's scrub of a SpaceX launch from Cape Canaveral. The cruise ship veered into the exclusion zone for the Falcon 9 rocket's flight path just before 6:11 p.m. on launch night, forcing SpaceX to stand down from the mission and prepare for a 24-hour turnaround, which kind of turned out nice because I got to see the launch. Here it is, in case you missed it in yesterday's video, and I'm sure most of you did miss it because nobody watched it. You should probably watch it after this. It was a pretty good episode. In a statement from the Coast Guard issued Monday, they say, "We can confirm the cruise ship was Harmony of the Seas. The Coast Guard is actively investigating Sunday's cruise ship incursion and postponement of the SpaceX launch. Our primary concern is the safety of mariners at sea, and will continue to work with our federal, state, and local port partners to ensure safe and navigable waterways." A Royal Caribbean spokesperson did not respond to a request from Florida Today for commentary. Port Canaveral's CEO, John Murray, said Port Canaveral fully supports the space industry in our region. This, unfortunately, was an isolated incident that happened outside of our control. The Coast Guard is conducting a full investigation, and we look forward to continuing to work with them and our space partners to ensure the continued success of this important enterprise. Launch engineers waited as long as possible for the Coast Guard to resolve the situation, but ultimately ran out of time to meet the instantaneous Windows deadline. It marked the fourth delay for the mission that was previously scrubbed due to inclement weather around the Launch Complex 40. So there you go, a cruise ship can actually affect what goes on in outer space. Who knew? If you made it this far into today's episode, why haven't you subscribed to the channel? I'm taking you to Nassau, Bahamas. It's going to be a really cool day. Make sure you're subscribed while you're down there. Hit that thumbs up button, smash it, attack it, do whatever you got to do. Click it, tap it, poke it, whatever. Go ahead and hit it. It tells YouTube to push this video out to more viewers like you. Thanks for stopping by the channel today, and until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships.
la 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 la.